Well, we love country music.
Yes.
And it's always fun to talk to people who maybe aren't household names. Maybe it's somebody you've heard of, maybe not, though. And if we can help you discover a new artist that you love, well, that makes us super happy.
Here's an artist you're going to love.
Yeah, she is real. She's awesome. She's funny. And she's got a really great story that's not the average story about why she wanted to be a country singer and how that journey went for her. Her name is Kimberly Kelly. We're super excited to have her as a guest coming up next. Kimberly Kelly, we are so excited that you took the time to be on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, good, because we want you to tell us everything. Go.
I think
where do you want me to start?
We're going to have to do a little bit better than that. You'd think we had been doing this for 31 years. Well, let's start with the history for people who are just getting to know you, maybe are discovering you. Let's start with a phrase that we get to utter a lot when we're talking to artists. How is it to be a Texas artist and then make the move to Nashville? Because we hear a lot of stories about how that works out and what happens. What was your experience?
My experience was my sister actually, we were both doing our own things back home, but she ended up meeting a legendary songwriter named Paul Overstreet. Oh. And she ended up signing a record deal, and I had finished grad school, and she asked me to come up and sing harmony with her on the road. So she's kind of what finally brought me to town. Yeah, and then I was just writing songs and eventually put out some more music of my own. But my sister brought me up here.
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit about that. Were you guys always, growing up, did you both sing a lot? Did you sing together? Were you guys on that, like doing the talent show thing? Or was this a late breaking thing that you decided to do?
So neither one of us, we didn't grow up really I guess we sang in the church sometimes, but we don't have one of those stories. Our family's musical. Our grandpa was an artist in Texas. There's actually some recordings of him. If his name's Sterling Kelly and the Hearts, and he kind of has like a Hank Williams thing. But my grandparents owned a bar. My uncles, along with my dad, they played music, but they weren't playing music while we were growing up. That all kind of happened before. We were in some talent shows, and then my sister wrote a lot of poems. I always say that wrong, and my husband makes fun of me. I've always said it like poems. Matthew McConaughey and I both say poem. He's like, that sounds like a comic book poem,
But you know what? It's hard to argue. Matthew McConaughey can change the pronunciation on any word, and everybody's going to go, well, maybe he's right.
I have some other friends that I've recently realized also say it like me, but so I pause every time before I say it, and I try to correct myself. She would write poems, and I would sing along with the radio and stuff, but never really came out with it or anything. And then about my junior year of high school, I told my mom, I said, hey, I think I can sing. And she was like, well, let's hear it. And I said, well, turn around backwards and close your eyes. And I sang for her. And then she, along with my sister, even encouraged me to enter every talent show you could possibly enter. And then I ended up going to the community college in Waco, McLennan Community College, and they have a music program there, a lot like Belmont, but on a smaller scale.
Sure. Yeah.
And I finished my first song there. I had written lyrics and stuff, but I wasn't playing an instrument. It all kind of came together there. And then they also have a bunch of different bands that you can be in. And I went through that program, and then my sister kind of realized, hey, I think, I've been writing these poems, but maybe it's songwriting that I actually like. She didn't really consider herself a singer. And she was working at a bar, and she was singing behind the bar, and one of the house bands heard her singing and said, hey, you need to sing with us. And she said, I don't sing, my sister sings. And so my sister was like, come sing with this band. And I said, well, I'll do it if you do it.
Wow.
So it was kind of like this natural, odd thing. And then we both kind of found our way. Kristen stylistically is more like country rock, and I've always been more of a traditionalist. So we didn't have a duo together or anything back home, but And she would tell you this. She can't really sing harmony. Not everyone can sing harmony.
My daughter points that out to me every day.
Well, yeah, I think that's just singing in general, I think. But
yeah. She can sing, but harmony, it's harder for her to find. But like I said, she's so sweet too. She'll be like, "Did I get it?" And I'll be like, "You're right there. So close."
So close.
But I learned how to do it in the community college, and then once that switch was turned, it's something I love sometimes, I think, even more than singing lead. And so that was kind of the natural progression when she came to town and ended up with a record deal. She was like, "Hey, do you want this job?" And I was like, "Let me check my schedule." Yes. So I went out on the road with her, and she was opening for Brad Paisley and Rascal Flatts and Alan Jackson, and I was just along for the ride. So
wow, it's real quick. It's funny you talk about the harmony thing, because my wife, she loves to sing and she has a lovely voice, but she's that way with harmonies. I call her, she's a torpedo in the water looking for a target, because if I like, we're singing along with the radio, I'll sing melody and then she'll be singing with me, and then if I'll jump to a harmony just to see if she'll come along, and she comes right along wherever I am, she's right there with me. She's just
really?
And I don't know what any of that means, but I know my daughter has multiple times said, no, you have to be 2 ahead or 2 above or something, all this stuff that I have no idea. And I'm like, I know what none of this means, except that I think I sound great.
Yeah. You got to be a third above or a third below. What's
that's
funny
what it is.
Brett, my husband, he's a songwriter and he can sing harmony also. And we'll be in the car and I'll be like, "Get off my part." Because he kind of has I don't know what it is, maybe a tenor. I don't know. He's very like Vince Gillish, whatever level that is.
Yeah, sure.
And so sometimes he goes for the part that I would go for.
Now, your husband, I've met him once or twice, and he's just a great guy. What's some of the songs he's got out right now so everybody can look those up? Because I think he's had some mild success, correct?
Yeah, he just literally had his second #1 2 days ago. "Wild as Her" by Corey Kent. We finally hung stuff on the wall. About a month ago, if you'd have called me, this would have been butcher paper, because I saw on TikTok where you put the butcher paper, you like size it out, and then so you can move things around. But "Wild as Her" by Corey Kent went #1. That's his second #1, and it was so sweet. He goes, "I'm not a fluke," because he got over the sophomore slump or whatever, or he's not a one-hit wonder. His first #1 was "Cold Beer Calling My Name," Jameson Rogers and
that
Luke
one did
Combs.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a decent song.
Yeah.
Well,
and
congratulations to him.
Thank you. Yeah.
There's
he
more?
Also he's written a ton, but another one we're really excited about right now is he wrote "Man Made a Bar." Which is the Morgan Wallen and Erich Church duet.
What's Morgan Wallen done?
Or Erich Church, for that matter.
I know.
maybe it'll find a home. Who knows?
Well, who knows? Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Came out last year, and how exciting is it for you? Because you've been doing this for a while now, and as you told, your story is not the average story. It's not the kind of thing where it's like a little girl dreaming of doing this her whole life. So it's really cool that you now have this things out in the world that you created. Tell us about how that came to be and how you feel about it.
Okay. So I was in Nashville writing songs because when I came to town, everybody kind of said that the way to do it when you got here was you got to get a publishing deal, and then that'll give you a record deal eventually. And there's no way to do it necessarily, but, I never signed a publishing deal, and I didn't have a record deal like I thought I would. And I got to the point where I thought, I'm going to make some music as like a last ditch effort, hoping that I could find a home. And Brett produced it. I did an EP called Don't Blame It on Me. And David Macias, who runs 30 Tigers, who has like Sturgill Simpson, Tyler Childers used to be there, all kinds of people. He found it and then said, "Hey, I want to make a record." And then, or I want you to make another record. And he linked me up with Toby Keith and Show Dog because they had a radio promo team, which just recently they were let go.
Right.
But Show Dog was great to me. I made that record. I got to be the exact artist that I wanted to be. We started a radio tour. I'm sure y'all want to know about this. They let them go. But I think what's about to happen, or they're sorting it out, is my record's just going to go back to 30 Tigers.
Cool.
And then I believe David is hiring an independent. So I'll just pick right back up where I left off
Perfect.
with the radio tour.
That's awesome.
But, so the record came out a year ago, and it's kind of this, we just threw a bunch of songs in a hat and let the best songs win. You know, I can write a song, and I'm obviously married to a songwriter, but Brett kind of helped me find my voice. You know, I kind of realized that there was like a phase in Nashville, I think, where if you were a female artist, you needed to be maybe Gretchen Wilson-ish, you know, like you had to kind of talk about drinking and partying to kind of hang with the boys. I love Gretchen, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
No, I get it. I'm married to a songwriter, and she talks about the exact same thing all the time.
And Brett was like, well, you drink, but that's not really like you. Like, who are the female artists that inspired you? And I went back to like Patti Loveless, Reba McEntire, all those ladies, and they had some bangers, you know, tempos. And then you listen to them and you realize they didn't have anything to do with about being at the bar and drinking. So we just were really specific about songs that matched my voice, my life, whether I wrote them or not. And we just put them all together. And again, like that EP that we made, I made a record as if it were the last one I was ever going to make. And that's what we got with I'll Tell You What's Going to Happen. And it was named after a quote. I was really close to the legendary songwriter Billy Joe Shaver, who wrote a ton of songs, but he's primarily famous for writing all but one of the songs on the Honky Tonk Heroes album of Waylon Jennings. And the story is that when he met Waylon in Lukenbach, Texas, Waylon said, you know, come up to town, bring some of those songs with you. I want to cut some of them. And when he got up to town, they tried to run him off with $100. And he was like, I'll tell you what's going to happen. You don't listen to these songs, or I'm going to whoop your, you know.
That's Billy Joe Shaver, baby.
I had gone to the Outlaws and Armadillo exhibit in the Hall of Fame, and I saw that quote again, and I texted it to David Macias at 30 Tigers, and I said, I always get this word wrong too. I said, that's going to be my mantra, however you say it.
Yeah.
And he goes, I dare you to name your record that. And I was like, I don't give a shit. Let's put that on here.
Let's do it.
And so that's why my record is named I'll Tell You What's Going to Happen, because I love country music and great songs, and I only wrote 2 of them, and Brett only wrote 4. He'll tell you, he's like, I'm a songwriter, and I only got 4 cuts on my wife's record.
That's tough crowd.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel about those songs, even excluding the 2 that I wrote, because I feel I'm too attached to the 2 that I wrote, but I will fight you for the rest of them that those are great songs, you know. So that's kind of how that came about.
Love it.
And then I cut a Billy Joe Shaver song at the end of it because it wouldn't feel right to kind of make a tribute, so to speak, if I didn't cut one of his songs. And then I kind of panicked. I'm going to drink my LaCroix while I'm doing this too, by the way, if that's okay.
Product endorsement.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure, if you want to spot it. They want to spot it. I kind of panicked right before it came out, thinking, I don't want people to think that, because he ended up passing in 2020, and I thought, I don't want people to think that I'm trying to
capitalize.
Yeah. And the woman that was helping me with my my press and stuff, publicity, she was like, if people like you who actually had a genuine relationship with him stop talking about him, people will forget about him. And I was like, yes. Okay, that made me feel better. Because everything was fine up to that point. You know, you just kind of start panicking about things right before. But that's the story of my record.
Well, I've got to tell you, you said so many great things in there that I want to touch on. First of all, when you're talking about being you and picking the songs and saying, my husband only got this many songs and I don't have to write them. I believe if more artists had that attitude, they would have bigger careers, because there are so many great songwriters in Nashville. And it's amazing to me how many are like, I have to write my own stuff or whatever. And I'm like, you know, Reba and George Strait have had decent careers.
I think maybe it's because of the way that the deals are structured now, that a lot of times labels maybe need some of that publishing on those artists or something to be profitable. I don't know, but Yeah, and being from Texas, I started writing my own songs. It's kind of like a rite of passage. You have to be able to
Mhm.
write your own. It's kind of taboo if you don't. And so I even kind of went through a phase of it was hard for me on that EP, even maybe if like this is the last thing I'm ever going to put out. I only wrote one song on it. But then it got me, one of those other songs is what got me my record deal. And then I, Jody Williams, a
Mhm.
great publisher in town, told me, he was like, Kimberly, the fact that you can A&R, like pick the songs, tells me that you're a great songwriter because
Mm.
you're choosing ones that are better. And yes, I feel like there are people that are born to be poets who can't sing a lick, and like we're missing out on so many of those songs just because people feel the need to prove to themselves or whoever that they can write a song. It's like, let the best songs win. And
Yeah.
I agree with you that I think some of the careers and maybe even what is being put out would be different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the other thing I want to touch on that is a compliment to you when you were talking about finding your voice and everything. We always go back. We name drop Kenny Rogers every chance we can, and we
Oh,
probably said it on
great.
every show. But one of the things he used to tell us, he would tell us every time he was on the show, everybody's three people. You're who you think you are, you're who you really are, and you're who they think you are. And it's the
Go.
closer you can make all three of those, the better things go. And
That's so
and
good.
you being yourself, and I could be wrong, and stop us if we are, but your socials are hilarious to me,
Oh,
and
thank you.
they seem very authentic because we all know
Yeah.
there's artists out there that have a crew show up and say, this is what you're doing today, do this, do this, do this, do this, and then they leave.
Yeah.
It seems like that's who you are, and it's fun to
Yeah.
follow.
I love that. That's funny because so many people recently have come up to me like, I haven't had some viral moment yet or anything, and I'm learning all about
Yeah.
that. That you can have help to get viral. But like, because for a minute I was like, I have followers, but I must not be saying something to them that makes them want to share it. But anyways, I'm learning about all that. There's a business to social media, but
Totally.
so many people have come up to me recently, like even yesterday, and they're like, "We just love to watch your TikToks because it seems like you're just like this ray of sunshine, and you're just so it's funny and." Yeah, it is exactly. I have a team that helps me
Post it and everything.
and yeah, post it, and like they'll come up with different things. But like I go in and write the captions, and we're so close. You know, her dog passed the other day, and I was like, just tell me what times to post it, and I'll do it. Like so we're constantly in conversation, but I love that. Because it's yeah, and this is even funnier. But the other night I went
Funnier
out
than
and
the
I
dog
met.
passing? Where are you going with it?
Yeah,
Oh, no. Okay.
no,
Bar is
not
pretty low, I think.
Okay, I was
no,
like,
the
whoa,
dog's not
whoa,
funny
whoa.
passing. That's sad. This is a funny story of like how real I actually am. I went and played. I went to Roadside Bar and met one of my radio reps, and he got me up on stage to just sing with the guys that were playing. I was playing, and the one of the guys turns around and he was like, "Wow, you have great teeth," and I was like, "Oh my God, thanks." I was like, I had braces on the backside of my teeth, and I just got them off 2 days ago. Because I was like, he just told me I have great teeth, right? And then I get down like an hour later, and JC goes, "Why did you announce on the microphone that you just had braces on the backside of your teeth?" And I was like, "I didn't announce it on the microphone." He goes, "Well, the microphone picked it up." He was like, "You didn't have to tell the whole world that." And then this other guy behind him with no teeth, mind you, was like, "I loved it. I thought it makes it real." We're like, yeah, like, why can I not tell people that I just got my braces off? Like, so yeah, I don't,
No teeth, Ed
I
loved it.
look like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And like, I look like this now, but when I'm at the house, I'll just I don't get, for a while, I thought I needed to be on 10 all the time, but no, and I've always played the mandolin. I'm just learning how to, I've been playing it for a while now, but like, I get so excited when I can play the guitar by myself without Brett and post a video. Like that's a huge deal for me because I've always played the mandolin. So I'll just learn something, and I have my hair up and no makeup. I don't care. I don't know. So,
Well, that's got to be a pretty comfortable
and
place to
so
live,
I'm,
because when you have that attitude about yourself, I think it just makes everything easier. Because think about the time that's wasted by
yeah,
men and women who got to be camera ready 24
Yeah.
hours a day. Got to,
And I mean,
I
let's use an
can't.
example that's been pretty successful. Clearly, Blake Shelton doesn't give a crap about appearance, because let's take a look at that
Right.
guy. I mean, he's just a doofus.
just a big fat sweaty mess.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
There are people that I think are wanting to see someone like me or a Blake Shelton, and there are people that want to see somebody curated all the time. So I think I love it that the people are liking what I do, because it just makes my life so much easier. You know what I mean? Because when you start out wanting to play music, you don't anticipate that all this stuff. And to be honest with you, I love making people laugh, I think, more sometimes than singing even. So that's, that's what makes it fun. So that means a lot. Thank
Well,
you.
and that's a good thing too. That combination works. And and speaking of Blake, I mean, he'll tell you there's a guy who was, a hair away from losing a record deal.
Yep.
Got the voice, and then his Twitter blew up, and that's where he was being himself and making these, dumb jokes.
Yep.
His record label will deny it, but his record label was trying to stop him from using the Twitter, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
They were like, cut it out. Stop it.
Stop saying these things. Stop being so real.
And that's what really broke him.
Yeah. So never be ashamed of
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. I feel bad about we thought that the dog passing away was funny.
Well,
that was
that's-
not
that-
funny.
that's
I'm
more-
sorry I laughed just then.
That's really more of a
Yeah.
sick mind over here, really, than anything else.
No. We do not think that's funny at all.
No.
Oh, yeah, no. I just want to reiterate that. That was not funny. That was very
clear.
sad.
Yeah, there's
but
nothing.
my brain went down a route. You said one thing, and I
Hey,
went that
it's
way.
okay. Now, what do you want everybody to know about how to follow you and what songs to stream and everything?
If you go to KimberlyKellyMusic.com, all the links are there. Whatever platform you like being on, if it's Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, I'm on all of them. And then we're gonna go to radio with Summers like
Excellent.
that.
Perfect
So,
timing. Nice.
Play that.
Okay.
Well, we'll get links to that stuff in the description as well, and make sure that folks can connect with you. But let us just say again, Kimberly, thank you so much for taking the time. It's a
Thank you for
refreshing
having me.
story. Love how this is working out for you, and we hope that it just continues to grow and grow. And we wish you the very best.
I'll come on.
Well, we'll have you
anytime.
back for sure.
Absolutely. Thank
Okay,
you. Take care.
good.